One thing that I have noticed about every narcissist who has been in my life, or someone with very strong narcissistic tendencies or controlling tendencies, I've noticed that they tend to have the emotional maturity of an 11-year-old. And apparently they seem to know it because to compensate for their immaturity, they need to treat others, particularly those they're abusing, as children. So it's like 11-year-old treating someone else like a 7-year-old, maybe an 8-year-old. So that makes them feel more mature. But they're full grown adults, but still, they're acting like 11-year-olds and they're treating you like a 7-year-old. Well, how do they do this? Well, number one, we've got 6 ways that I've observed this, is they tend to be very dismissive in their treatment of you. For example, if you have an idea, they will dismiss it at hand. Doesn't matter what it is. You could have an idea for an invention. You could have an idea for a business. You could have an idea for a place to go out to eat. Any decision in life. And what they will do is they will dismiss those ideas as if they were very childish. Are there exceptions? I can't think of any. Probably there are some, but they've got to feel like they are older, that they are more mature, that they have seniority, that they have control over you, even though they act like children. And the virtue of the fact that they are treating you like a child is an indication that they're narcissists or they have controlling tendencies. They also tend to just treat you personally like a child all the time, in every way possible. So, yeah, I've had a few narcissists that I've had the unpleasantness of knowing, and they're just children. They're 11-year-olds, but they want to control, and they want to treat adults like they are children, so they will feel like adults. Number two is they're constantly correcting your behavior. I actually had a narcissist one time tell me that I smiled at the wrong time. Talking to somebody, just having a conversation. We're not at a funeral, we're just having a conversation. And I smiled, and the guy later said, you should not have smiled. Person going to think you're crazy. Why? I was happy. There was a reason to smile. It was a normal, natural thing to do. Why did he say that? Well, just a way to control for no reason in particular other than he wants to be the adult in the room. And as we said earlier, just by pretending to be the adult in the room, he is behaving like a child because, do you remember being 11 years old and you didn't like being treated like a kid? That is the nature of the narcissist. These people know, again, they know they are emotionally immature. That may not be at the very surface front of their mind, but deep down inside, they know the average typical person is much more mature than they are. So the way to compensate projection is to treat everyone else as if they are even younger than they are, more immature emotionally than even they are. Another good example would be they may say that you spoke out of line, that you said something that you should not have said. And I have heard this dozens of times, or they know how to make the sales presentation rather better than you, or they know how to have family conversation better than you. And sometimes they just flat out say it, or they will have an idea better than your idea. So number three then is they treat you with contempt. That is to say, they can be very patronizing. We just don't treat children, 7-year-olds, the way that we treat adults. Now, sometimes that's a good thing because, well, they're not adults. And sometimes it's a bad thing because we need to help them grow up. But whatever the case is, the narcissist will always treat you with contempt because he or she wants to see you as a 7-year-old. They are 11-year-olds emotionally, and they want the rest of the world to be 7-year-olds so they can feel mature, so they can compensate for those feelings of immaturity. And so they treat other people with contempt. They talk down to them. They treat them poorly. They treat them like they are children. They order them about, demand they sit. When they say sit, stand. When they say stand, mind your behaviors. The list just goes On and on. It is endless. Number 4 is they tend to be impatient. So I don't know if you've ever worked with a little kid, but sometimes, yeah, you can get a little impatient because you want them to hurry up and do whatever they're doing, hurry up and eat, hurry up and get dressed, hurry up and get done with that, hurry up and say what you're wanting to hear them say. You know, if they're having trouble saying something, you may tell them to spit it out, because we tend to be very impatient with little children. Well, that's because children are children, and we can't help but to be a little bit impatient. Obviously, we should be more patient than we really are. Well, the narcissist does that. He or she just hates to wait for people. They don't like to wait on people, but for people, no. Now, again, you don't have to wait for them forever. If you go someplace and they're tied up, well, just cool your heels, hang on a second. Give them time. They'll be there. If they say they're going to do it, they're going to do it, and they'll do it when they're good and ready, which means they're going to intimidate you by making you wait. But don't you dare do that to them. Why? Because, well, they're just immature. They don't understand that we treat each other like adults. They just don't get it. Because they can't. They can't help but behaving like 11-year-olds. And again, they have to treat you like you are even younger, like you're a kid. Number 5 is notice that adults will tend to dominate the conversation when they're talking to children. Now, there are some times when we're trying to teach kids or intentionally trying to get children to talk because we're teachers, maybe we're parents or whatever. So there are times when we want them to talk, but it's a conscious decision. But normally, naturally, when we're not cognitive of it, we tend to overtalk children because, well, we're the adult in the room. And so we talk over top of them. Or we talk and they listen. Remember that old saying that children are to be seen and not heard, treating them like children? Well, that's how the narcissist treats you. He wants to dominate every conversation. What you have to say is not important. Not at all. In fact, it's usually wrong. You have to be corrected. So if you say the sky is blue, the grass is green, the narcissist will say, nah, I think really the grass is blue and the sky is green. Exaggeration, yeah, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but, well, maybe there are some exceptions, but yeah, I think that's an exaggeration, but it's a good point. That whatever you say, they have to disagree because in disagreement, they control the conversation. Just like when you're talking to a little child, the difference is that children, little kids are often wrong and they need to be corrected. And the narcissist observes that and says an adult, thinking subconsciously an adult, is one who corrects children. And the fact that he is thinking that way, not realizing that you correct them when they're wrong, you don't just correct them because you're in control, is a sign that the narcissist himself is the child. He or she himself, they are the ones who are emotional 11-year-olds. Sometimes they will just talk over top of you because what you have to say is not important. Number 6, have you ever noticed this? That narcissists tend to walk in front of other people, kind of like, or they like to walk in front of me anyhow, or whoever their victim is, whoever they happen to be abusing at the moment. Whenever you go somewhere with these people, they tend to walk in front of you on purpose. They're showing dominance. And if you're walking side by side with these people or trying to, they'll kind of push you out of the way, nudge you out of the way. Walking down a sidewalk with a narcissist, he or she will walk down the middle. And you are forced to walk in the gutter or over in the grass, or follow them behind. You're kind of like the little puppy on a string, or on a leash rather, and they just kind of dragging you along. They are the dominant individual. That is how they are treating you like a child. So how does a narcissist treat his or her victim like a child? Well, number 1, they're dismissive, particularly of ideas. Number 2, they're constantly correcting behavior. Number 3, they treat us with contempt. Number 4, they are very impatient. Number 5 is they've got to dominate every conversation with few exceptions. And number 6, notice they are always walking in front of you. See those two rectangles on the screen? If you like what you hear, let's keep talking. All you got to do is click on one of those two rectangles and the conversation will continue. If not, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see y'all next time.